Okay, so I was just kind of looking over this engine and everything kind of looks okay, except for right in there, you can see some sort of epoxy or JB Weld shenanigans right there. So before we start hating on my buddy, I am friends with this guy that sold me this. He told me that the dealer told him about that. So he said, well, he's like, if you want to get into it, go ahead. So I paid accordingly, but it is pretty much a basket case. So I don't know what we're gonna do, whether we're gonna fix or replace, but I do kind of want to see what the extent of the damage is. First step for me is going to be take the carbs off of here. I don't really want to injure the carbs. They got these choke butterflies just sitting out here in the middle of nowhere, and I'm worried that I'll damage those somehow, so I'm going to get the carbs taken off of here so I can keep working on it. Alright, so the carbs are off of there. When I was trying to get the carbs off, I thought it was these bolts, but that was my mistake. Those are that hold the reed valves in, must be, so, or at least this retainer plate. So anyway, now these can come out. There was one bolt here, 2, 3, 4, 5. Should have been a 6th one here, but this bolt was not in there. So anyway, got those out. The 6 bolts to take the carb off. I took some other garbage off just to, while I was farting around with it. But really all you need is the 6, and then now I'm going to take this plate off. Alright, well, based on what I'm seeing right there, that's not a good sign. Of course, this side looks alright. But that right there, I don't know if there's any recovering from that, so I'm just gonna pretty much thrash this thing apart and see what we're really dealing with. Alright, so this piston is obviously destroyed. The whole skirt is gone on this side, and the skirt is gone on this side completely as well. So, not a good deal there. All the pieces fell down and got into the crank. On this side, things look okay. The skirt has coating on it, so that's interesting. I'm gonna have to pop the end off of this to get the crankcase shells separated. All right, with all this metal down in here, things are looking pretty bad. I'm gonna grab this piston off of here and probably get the other one off of the other rod as well. And then at least I got less stuff flopping around to get broke here. this is the immediate carnage here. I guess it doesn't look too terrible, except for obviously this spot right here where it was JB welded or epoxied or whatever we got going on there. So that's not super hot. You can see where that rod must have punched through there, did some damage. So I assume that half of the case is probably no good. This case is probably fine, but I don't know if they're like a matched pair. I'm not really sure yet. So the crank is in one piece, but you know, there's metal in like that divot for the rod there. I don't know. That doesn't probably look like it's usable. I'm gonna have to really go over this really closely and see what's usable and what's not. But that is basically it broken down. Here's the Bendix that came out. This is for the starter, how it pulls in and out. So yeah, we'll just clean all the chunks out, see what we're left with, see what the cracks are or anything like that. See what's left and go from there. Well, it's a couple days later now. I have my crankshaft sitting here and it's still injured, and I have my cylinder here that's injured, and then I have the top. This is the top half of my crankcase, and you can see this whole JB Weld epoxy whatever little surprise we have here. So I'm gonna try and get this all cleaned up so that it can be welded shut and not have any problems, but that requires me grinding off and filing off all of this epoxy. So first things first, I'm gonna get it cleaned up and then we'll see about getting it removed. All right, so it's washed up, kind of cleaned off all the grease and kind of tried to clean some of these mating surfaces, but I'm gonna go ahead and start on this thing. I got kind of some like rotary rasp style tools, a bunch of different ones, and I'm gonna put it on the drill, see if it works. If I need air tools, I might relocate, but you know what, let's just try it. All right, well, after holding it with one hand, that's just not gonna work, so I have repositioned now in my vise, and we'll give it a shot like this. Hopefully 2 hands makes for steadier work. Okay, so fast forward probably, I don't know, an hour or something like that. I got this all cleaned out. No JB Weld is left in there. That is a pristine, bare aluminum surface. And then if you flip it over, you can see, of course, this side. I could probably use a flap wheel or something to clean that up. Probably will do that here shortly. But yeah, now this hole is, you can see what we're dealing with here. It's pretty significant. But I think it could be welded up. So we're gonna try that and get this fully cleaned up. All right, so I slopped this engine back together, just kind of started all the bolts. Nothing's even really tight. And I got it put into this kind of, I'm gonna say, beautiful crate. This is 2 foot by 2 foot. Very simple. All we did was make this outer perimeter and then put a sheet on it, and then same outer perimeter, put a sheet on it, and then these sides don't really have any support. They're just screwed to this other one, and then the bottom is just a sheet with 2 2x4s lined up together, glued, screwed, and everything's good. Then I put these 2 little 90 or 45 pieces in there and a strap to hold everything else straight. I think it turned out really good. So a buddy of mine, Matt, helped me with it. Thanks, Matt. And so we're gonna get this thing sent. After doing a bunch of research on parts and everything else, it just came out to be cheaper to send this thing off to be rebuilt rather than rebuilding it myself. You can hardly get, you can't get the parts to rebuild this for the price that it would take to have it exchanged, the core exchange with everything. So just one of those deals. I guess that's just the way this segment of power sports works. So we're gonna send this off to pwcengines.com. There's a Mike there. I'll put his name up on the screen. But anyway, he has been going back and forth on email, and it sounds like everything can work here. And everything can be rebuilt. So my understanding is that I send him this and he'll send me back a running engine. So Anyway, let's get this baby boxed up and sent off.